My name's Tim McDonald. I'm one of the principals of Onion Flats.
Karen Haggerty Wilson, an architect at Onion Flats.
My name's Nikki. I'm an intern at Onion Flats.
Rafi Alvarez from Councilwoman Sanchez's office.
Carmen Salsa from Senator Tartaglia's office.
My committee. My committee institutional.
I'm Tony. I sit on the committee, on the board.
And I'm Lisa Segarra. I am the coordinator, the outreach organizer to Nova Square. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for coming today. Our company, Onion Flats, has been at 111 West Norris since 2004. So we've been a part of the neighborhood since then. But
Stop for 1 minute. Do everybody here understand English? Spanish, ¿tú entiendes? Edie? Ana?
Está bien.
Anybody need any translation? Okay. Sorry.
no problem. But the reason why I have this up here is because we are not just the architects for this project, but we're the owners of it, and we're going to be the builders of it too. So there's only one place to come to if you have any issues. It's us. It's actually me. So I can give you my number, and you know where we are, right down the street. I guess it's hard with the lights on, but you know the corner. We're on the corner of Howard. Maybe turn the lights down. Well, look, we brought a lot of copies. I'm not sure how many.
There's 17.
About 17 copies. I think you can share much better quality images there than what's up here. But I thought it was important to show it up here. So anyway, it's one of the last remaining industrial buildings in this section of the neighborhood, and I thought it would be important to talk about the different addresses here, because this used to be, and you'll see in a second why, this used to be one building, one factory. This was, since 1937, you'll see in a second, this was the office for the factory, and then from here over was the factory. But currently it's actually 3 different addresses, and I'll explain what that's about in a second. This is a map from 1880, and this was a former carpet factory. It was Park Carpet Mills. These buildings were built at different times between 1868 and 1880. And it lasted like that, and actually like this, up until about 1937. But as you can see, and for some reason, I don't know why, but it was a 4-story building all the way around, and then there was this courtyard in between. And then in 1937, this company, some of you may remember Anaconda Brass, Copper, and Bronze Factory. They must have knocked the whole building down, took out the basement, and built from here. So this is the 2-story office building, but from here to here, so essentially from there to there, they just built a 1-story, it's about 20 feet high, but a 1-story wide open structure on the inside. So that happened in 1937, and then in 1965, they sold it to the people we bought it from, Pearl Binding, and I remember when we showed up in 2004, there were people, the space was filled with people sewing. So it was still an active factory in 2004. But in 2004, we bought the whole thing. In 2005, we sold this plus this, those 3 different addresses. We sold these 2 of them to Liz Kinder Ceramics, and she has a pottery studio there. And then 2016.
Who's she?
Excuse me?
Who's she?
Who is she? She's my wife. Yeah. So we were her tenants, basically, because our office is in here. Okay. And then in 2016, there was remapping done in this area, and we requested that when that mapping process happened, we requested that it go from the industrial zoning that it was to IRMX, which allows residential. And then in 2019, Liz Kinder Ceramics sold us back just the 2005 property. It's not that important, but it's important that I just state it, because what it means is, all that it means is that this becomes the extent of our project from here to here, not this.
So that's why you said you own it.
What's that?
That's why you said in the beginning you own it, she sold it to you.
Initially, but we still don't own that one on here.
Right.
But we bought the 2005 North Howard Street, and now we consolidated that with the larger property as one property, okay? Just so you all understand the history. Do you have a question?
Question.
Yeah.
Hi, Tim. I've met you and your wife a couple of times throughout the
Diana,
years.
let's wait till they're
No,
done first.
you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sweating. It's hot in here.
We can't, don't, let's not
We
do it
can't
that
what?
way.
Ask questions?
Not yet, please.
Okay,
let
so
him
we're just
finish.
gonna talk about the history
No,
of the building
first he's
already?
gonna go into the project next, and then we're gonna open it up, and you can ask him all the questions you want.
Okay.
Por favor, okay?
I'm going to go pretty fast, because I
Thanks.
No,
want to...
do your presentation,
Okay.
okay?
So,
We're sweating.
I just find it interesting, and it's literally, we didn't try to do this, but in many ways, we're returning the old building that was once there, because we're proposing a 4-story building with a courtyard in between, just like the original building that was there. You guys have read the information, so you know that it's an 80-unit project with 8 artist studio spaces on the ground floor on Hope and Howard Street. And there's a drive aisle. There's one drive aisle here. We've got a series of, right now there's a double curb cut here as well as here. They go away. We only keep one curb cut here, and well, you know there's no parking on Hope Street, and one curb cut here. So those curb cuts go away, and 2 parking spaces come back to the street. But on the inside is, on the ground floor, are the facing Hope and Howard are these artist studio spaces. This is the lobby. This is an apartment, ADA accessible apartment. And these are the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors. They're all 1-bedroom units.
Can you go back a little bit and
Yeah.
tell people how many parking spaces you have?
Yep, there are 26 parking spaces on the ground floor. And
Hold on to questions, please. 26 parking spaces, everybody heard that? Okay, go on.
each apartment has its own balcony, whether it's facing the courtyard or facing the streets. The roof is a green roof, and then above the green roof is the entire thing is covered with solar panels. The project is going to be built as what's called a net zero energy building, which simply means that we're designing the building so that it uses very little heating and cooling, because it's going to be a super insulated building. It's called a Passive House certified building. And then the PV, the solar panels on the roof, are hopefully going to generate all the electricity that the units need. Okay? And so on the ground, this is on Howard. This is the elevation on Howard, and then the elevation of the courtyard, and you can see these balconies. It's tough to see, but you have the images. These are all balconies, and then these are perforated metal screens that block the western sun to keep the heat out in the summertime, as well as create a sense of privacy. As you can see, the ground floor is the doors and stoops along the entire street. This is the lobby. It's kind of a low-key lobby on both Howard and Hope. This is Hope Street, very similar, just a bit shorter. And then this is a section cut through. This is where the parking occurs. This is the drive aisle in between. And this is looking at it from 111 West Norris. And then this is a section, gives you a much better sense of what that parking space is like. And then this is the rendering that we think we're using the same materials that are there, brick, kind of an industrial feeling to it, as I said, corrugated metal, perforated metal panels. And this is looking down, it's really hard to see, but your images are better. This is looking down Hope Street. And then just lastly, because I know that people are concerned with the demolition and air quality, and I just want you to know, as I said, this building is going to stay. It's really just this from here to here, which is a one-story building. There's no basement in this building, so it's just a slab on grade. It's a clear span. There are no columns inside here, so it's really just a wide open space. And what we are required to do is all of this. And I'm just going to, you can ask me about each one of these things. We're providing every one of these to you guys, but we're required to do a whole bunch of stuff that because of the scale of the project, we not only have to have a demolition permit, but we have to have a site safety permit. We have to define exactly how the building is going to come down, what's going to come down by hand, what's going to come down by machine. We have to deal with all the site utilities beforehand, cap them off, and make sure that that there are no problems. Because if you're demolishing a building, you might block up the sewer or cause an issue with the water department. Obviously, we need a zoning permit. We need a demolition schedule. To tell them exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it. We need an asbestos inspection report. We just got that. Yeah, we just got that, and we found that the only asbestos that's in there is on the glue on some of the tiles that are on the ground and in the putty around the windows. That's it. There's no more asbestos. But even with that, we have to have special inspections. We don't need to go into that. We have to make sure the water department is clear about what happens when we take the building down and we take the slab away and we have an empty site. We've got to make sure that no water or dirt or anything goes into the sewer or onto the streets. We have to have a dust control plan, so we can't have any dust going around the neighborhood. We have to keep it down primarily with spraying water the whole time.
And how long is it going to take you to get this project done, like demolition and...
So we're not sure when, because there are just so many pieces that need to come together. But when we get the demolition permit, when we get the demolition
Excuse me. Can everybody keep the conversation down until the presentation is over, please?
This is my last slide.
Take your time.
Okay, now we're going to open it up and...
Well, let me
When he's
just finish.
Okay.
So if we got the permit tomorrow, which we won't, it's probably going to be another month before everything comes together.
What is your demolition date?
Well, again, it depends on the
June
permit.
1st.
No, it's not June 1st.
Okay.
So our intention is to start this summer. Our intention is to take the building down within, what was their schedule, a month and a half, something like that. And then move right into construction after that. We expect a 12 to 18 month construction period.
Wow.
So,
You ready here now?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to open it up. Oh, sorry. And please don't talk over each other. Let's respect each other. We're all adults here. And you know what? I'm gonna start with you, Diana, because
Thank you. Okay, so I'm a little bit concerned. I know on an architectural point, you probably got everything covered, but I was saddened to hear that the opinion of the longtime residents of this neighborhood wasn't asked for, or that there was no interest from our end of if we thought this would be a good idea. We're already dealing with a lot of density regarding parking on Howard Street, to the extent that we've had to get permits, and even with our permits that we pay for, I still park 3 blocks away from my house on a day like today when football's not canceled and I've had a long day of work and I got football with my son till 8 o'clock at night. I think it's really disturbing that it's 88 units, a tall structure in a residential block, which to me is an eyesore, regardless of how green you make it, which is great for the residents that will be living there. But it's really alarming to me that there was no kind of input or Q&A from the neighborhood if this was something that they would want, even though I guess you're free to do whatever you want. So I have a lot of concerns and a lot of questions, and it just seems like 88 units is outrageous. I'm born and raised in New York. I know what it's like to live in a high-riser. This is not the kind of residential block that would look good with an apartment building to have 88 units in with only 24 something, 26 lots.
Oh,
So it's
shoot.
alarming. Now, would I have heard 10 houses, 6, couple of houses, the parking pad on Hope Street? No protest. More houses to add to it, because the building itself right now is an eyesore too. But you know, if you were to say I'm building 10 houses or 15 houses, 10 on the Howard Street side, 15 on the Norris Street side with a parking pad on Hope Street, I wouldn't even be here. I would totally support it. This is something that will look great on American Street when the city finally gets their knickers up where they should be and make that beautiful. I wouldn't mind seeing buildings on either side, apartment buildings of American. But on Howard Street, it's alarming and it's concerning.
You had,
I'd like some feedback on that though.
let him answer the question.
I understand that it's alarming. We took the perspective that we're going to design a project that works within the zoning on the site. Could we have come and gotten feedback from the community before? We could have done that, and we didn't do that because we were working from the perspective that what was allowed by the zoning that's there is what was allowed, and so we worked within that, and in fact we made it smaller than what was allowed by zoning. So that's not an excuse. It's just where it's the perspective that we took. We took
So under the
perspective
zoning, they
that
said it was okay to take what was once an industrial building and turn it into an 88-unit apartment building?
Yeah.
With no problem?
right.
With no problem? Okay.
Right. Now there's that. But the other, I just want to talk
There's
about.
a hand right here and another hand. Keep your hands up when you want to speak, okay? Go ahead, Papi, go ahead.
So the other thing, and I talked to Pat DiCarlo and Lisa about this last time we met, but we're also actually trying to make what we call affordable, from a market rate perspective, affordable housing without subsidies. So we have no subsidies for the project, but we're designing it so that it will be rented, and I've been told that the numbers that we're asking for, I think it was $1,150 a month per unit. For one bedroom is outrageous for this neighborhood, but what it also is in line with 80% area median income here. So at one level, it's actually below market rate. And so we're trying to make more affordable. If we were to build townhouses here, in the way that we build
Okay,
townhouses,
we gotta
wouldn't
give
be able
people
to
a talk.
sell.
Go ahead.
He's answering a question though.
He was answering her.
He's answering a question.
Okay. I just think that
He's answering a question, you're moderating, he's answering the question.
Right, and so I'm going to clarify the answer. The median income that you did was for the city of Philadelphia. In the last few years, the city of Philadelphia has seen a huge influx, population with higher income. So the median income that you would have to look at is the median income in this neighborhood in order to make it affordable to this
That's what we
neighborhood.
did.
And if you
That's
want,
what-
you looked at zip code 19122.
Right.
I have it by census tract, I will
Right.
send it to you, and I'll make it available to everybody. It's quite substantially different. And so that's the median income that we have to hit, is the census tracts in this neighborhood, because then you're really hitting the neighborhood. But now, next question, because there are other issues people want to raise.
yes.
Okay. I live literally across the street from where you're gonna do this, okay? My problem is this, parking. When you start tearing this building down, I lived here for over 49 years. So I know what happened inside that building. I know how many people died of cancer who worked in that building because they were friends of ours. So I know what's inside the building. My worry is when you start tearing that building down, when all the things start going in the air, our air conditioners, how much dust that's gonna get? Who's gonna pay for our air conditioners, our central air units when they get clogged with the dust and the dirt? You understand? The parking issue? You said, we have people here, the majority of people here live on the 2000 block of power. I'm the block captain. You understand? And I'm very, very upset. Because one is, I know your brothers. And you said, nobody came knocking on our doors to tell us what was gonna happen and what we have to expect. I know that you're gonna build it because they already approved everything for you. You understand?
Oh, no, don't they need the zoning money?
No, mamita,
They-
that's all done
That's
already.
already approved?
That's already done.
Oh,
So I know this is
Right. Wait a
Yes,
minute,
wait a minute.
wait a minute.
I know this is
This
already
is
gonna be
just
done.
a civic design review, okay?
Yeah, but we already know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
You understand?
That's a done deal.
I know it's a
Because
done
it's coming
deal.
in.
You understand? And we all know who live right there, who's gonna be there when it's all gonna come down, because we're the ones who gotta look at that. We have to look at that, and the people who live on Hope Street has to look at that. You understand? So we're the ones who have to deal with the dust, with the dirt, with the closing of the street, with the trucks coming through, with the tanker, whatever, taking the dirt out. You understand? We're the ones who have to deal with all that. You'll be back home, wherever you live at now, because you used to live there, but you moved. You understand? We're the ones who have to deal with that.
Okay, Maggie.
So what's gonna happen with us?
So,
Okay.
when it comes to demolishing the building, as you know, our office is right there. We are there every single day,
To 6 o'clock.
right? And any work, any demolition work that's being done has to live by these rules, including the dust control plan, which means that no dust will be coming from this demolition. What happens if we see
So my question to you is, when my air conditioner clouds up this summer, when you start tearing down, I can knock on your door, you're gonna come and you're gonna fix it, right?
How can you avoid the dust? I'm sorry. I mean,
That's what I'm
saying. Is that a cool question? How can you avoid the dust of a huge building? I just want to know, maybe you got something, I don't know.
Especially.
So first of all, I'm not taking the building down. I'm
Right, I
hiring a
understand.
Oh,
licensed
whoever.
licensed demolition
We
contractor
understand that, of course.
that knows all these requirements. And so if there's any dust coming from this site whatsoever, it gets shut down until the dust stops. And what I've been told by the demo contractor is that they are constantly spraying wherever they're working with water to keep that dust on site.
That's what they say.
Okay.
I mean,
And that's
that's
my job,
We gotta
is
move
to
on.
make sure they
The
do
guy with the
that.
black
That's
shirt.
good, that's what he knows.
Me. Hi, I'm the black captain of Hope Street. I know who you are.
Yeah,
I know who I am. Of that 9 months blackout for the block, cars parking, whatever, we're not allowing that. Okay, construction-wise, I already know how it is. Always happens. We allow for that. That we allow. But blocking a block
Right.
for 9 months,
No, that's not, so that's not
it's
gonna
not gonna
happen.
happen. Listen to me.
But here's
But
what,
the lady is telling you from Howard Street, Black Captain, the dust and all that,
Yeah.
you gotta have a control of that too.
yes,
But blocking the block,
right.
it's not gonna happen.
So, just,
And you know who I am.
I know, just when it comes to Hope Street, the city is requiring us to, and that's part of the site safety plan, they're
Yeah.
requiring us to shut down a portion of Hope for a period of time that allows us to take the building down. When
What's that
that
time?
goes away,
Yeah,
then
but you gotta let us
streets
know the
open up
time.
again.
It's
What's
not,
that?
it's not 9 months. What's the period? You gotta let us know the time and whatever.
I'm saying during the demolition period.
Yeah,
saying
but it's
during-
not gonna be 9 months.
No, he said a month and a half, July.
No, that's, the
That's
demolition
what
is
it
a
was.
month and a half.
That's what it was concerned. My neighbors are concerned for that, and I'm concerned for that.
I
So now,
understand.
we're willing to, because we have construction to that block too.
Right.
Of course, they work with us
Yeah.
all the time. Now, not gonna be 9 months. And you're gonna be responsible for that dust and all that stuff. You're gonna be able to clean up and back
Can
up. You do.
I respond to
Yes.
that? Can I
Answer's
respond to
yes.
that?
And you have my number.
Whoa.
Oh, I got your number, I got your number.
Can I respond to that? Number one, the man has already said, there is an expert that's dealing with all of this. We all know where to go if there's a problem. Now, this building is coming down whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. We are here tonight to hear all the details and to work with them and to minimize what may or may not go wrong. Not to criticize and not to say what is or is not going to happen.
Bobby, I love you, but you gotta speak for yourself.
Diana, we can't do nothing about it.
I'm just saying you can't speak for
No, I'm not, but we can't change this.
All right, but I raised my hand from the beginning. Can I say something?
Yes.
Okay. 80 apartments. No. With the studios inside the building and the people working for you, we don't have space for cars. It's gone. And then 80 apartments, individuals, it's no.
Now, nobody's gonna like this, I've said this, but it's.
This is a waste of time, I'm leaving.
It's my answer whether.
Let's
it's your
work
answer.
around it.
What's that?
Let's work around it.
Hey, you're talking out loud, you're not giving
Let's
nobody
work
a
around
chance.
with the community.
Mira,
Both
mira,
and
señor,
Howard.
Joe, Tony, ask him to step out. He has to step out. He is disrespected, you gotta go. I'll let you speak all you want.
meeting, I'm not gonna pause.
Okay, the señora in the back, you raise your hand, go ahead, speak.
Yes. I live across the street from the building. I'm at 110 West North Street. When Howard Street got the permits, it became impossible
Yes.
for me to park in front of my house. It is I can't even park in my driveway because people are always blocking my driveway. In case of an emergency, I can't move my car. It is. I know that they've mentioned it before, but you need to hear this over and over again.
Yes.
It is alarming to me that there's 80 plus units and only 20 plus only parking for 20 spaces.
26 spaces.
For 26 spaces, it's, maybe this is not your issue, but I recall before, please don't cut me off, in many meetings before I stopped coming because, the councilwoman was here before about we can't build this many apartment buildings and now 88 buildings, it's okay to build. It's making me, forget about being uncomfortable, but it's just like, I'm a working class woman, and I don't make a lot of money. So with this raising my taxes, it's becoming impossible for me to stay in the home that I chose to live in to raise my family and be comfortable, be okay. I'm okay with bettering the neighborhood. I'm okay with keeping drugs off my neighborhood and having new people or just the houses look nice. But 88 units and 20 plus parking spots, and then across the street from my house, am I going to be in jail? Is that what I'm going to look at? You know what I mean? That big wall. across the street. I'm on 110 West North Street, you know that. And it's just, it's very alarming, and I think if you guys call us for a meeting, it's for our voices to be heard. I think this should be done before. And once again, where's all these people in the past objected to a family dwelling buildings to be built? All of a sudden, this is okay?
Because Maria's getting paid, that's why.
Oh, God, here we go.
She raised her hand, and then you're next. Speak up, speak
How
up.
can you avoid all that dust and coming towards the Howard Street side? Because my husband is bedbound. I can't even open up a window now. He has respiratory problems. He can't breathe. He has cancer. He's had a stroke. He doesn't move. Now I'm worried because he can't even have an air conditioner. What am I supposed to do now? Put him in the kitchen or in the living room because I can't afford all this dust to go into the house because his breathing is bad. He's not even allowed to sit outside in the front.
If there's dust coming from the
How
site,
can we avoid it from?
if there's dust coming from the site,
Because I'm right in
you
front.
could shut the project down. Now, the whole point here is what's that?
What do we need to do to?
You can start by calling me
Okay, let's
if
say
I don't see.
if he was to get, I will have to
But
rush
two,
him to
you
the
can
hospital.
call Ellen
Be able to shut
and
it
shut
down.
it down because you will have a dust control plan that you can have in your house.
Okay.
You could say this is not supposed to happen and it needs to stop. But that's my main job. I'm the guy that watches the day-to-day work. I will be the guy that watches the day-to-day work on this project, so
Because we're not even allowed to
the
let
buck
people in
stops
the
with
house.
me.
Only family, nobody
The
else.
young guy with the black shirt, and then after him, the guy with the gray, and then, of course, you, Miss Hernandez. I'm gonna give you the chair. Go ahead.
Okay, so firstly, I would just like to say.
I can't hear you, baby. Talk
Sorry.
up.
So firstly, I would just like to reiterate for everyone here that this is 88 units. That's not saying that only 88 people will live there. That's just assuming like a single person to every unit lives there with only 26 parking spots when I can't already find one on a Friday night when I come home from work on the street. So to add that on there, my other question, you said that there's artist space that will be available underneath or on the lower level of this. It is my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that that space is there, that given that space, you don't have to provide the extra parking for the units that you're building. Is that correct?
Right, so the industrial parking ratios are different. There's no industrial parking for the first 7,500 square feet.
I was going to say something that nobody's going to like, but I'm going to say it anyway about parking.
Say it.
So, we're the owners. We get the applications. And if I have 2 applications, and this is part of our review process, if I get an application that somebody says I have a car, and another person says I don't have a car, we rent it to the person that doesn't have a car. We don't want 80 cars here either. We are going to be on that. Our office is moving from 111 West Norris to Front Street, the project we're building right now. So we're right across the street. We're going to stay here. So it behooves us to make sure that the people that are living here don't have cars. Now, does that mean that I can guarantee that? Does that mean that when somebody moves in and they don't have a car, they can choose to go buy a car? They can. But I can tell you that it's just better that we don't want cars here either, and we're going to try to control that.
But that cannot be lawful.
Wait.
But I didn't even finish
You can take my question. You can take my question.
Go ahead, sir.
That cannot
Sir,
be
you're not
lawful
really
because you
lifting up
can't
your
prevent
hands.
people from getting a car. That's unlawful.
Excuse me, sir, if you lift up your hands, then you can
I
get a
did,
turn.
and I started talking, and
No,
then you
you
interrupted
did not.
me. Yes, I did.
The guy with the gray shirt, you want to speak?
I was cut off, man.
Go ahead, sir.
So you can't prevent me from buying a car. It's unlawful. So this argument,
You're next,
but
Hernandez.
80. Why don't you have a garage for 80 cars?
Or 40 units.
No, garage for 80 cars.
Because Because the zoning allows for this and more on that site, and we've kept it to a 4-story building. It could be a 5 or even a 6-story building.
So with all
sold
due
it-
respect, this is like useless, right?
What's that?
This meeting, I mean, really.
It's, I would say it's not useless because we're all, you see who I am, you know where to
But
come
we're all
after me.
against it, all of us.
What's that?
We're all against it. All of us. If there's anyone that's not against, raise your hand.
How many people opposes this plan?
Oppose?
Yes.
Everybody.
Everyone. Okay, but don't worry, we're gonna vote today. Ms. Hernandez, please speak.
Okay. I live at 2446 North Howard. I've been living there for 50 years. And I really don't appreciate not getting a piece of paper or a telephone call, you understand, to let me know that they were going to do that there. They didn't tell none of my neighbors. It was like a secret. And all of a sudden, pocket, it's going to be done. 50 years, and I don't have no right in my neighborhood to say a word? That upset me.
That's why we have to change the law. Gotta change the
The
law.
lady with the green shirt and then kneels down. Go ahead. You.
Thank you.
Ms. Camacho.
Do you charge extra for the people who are gonna have the parking space? Is that part, because then if you have more people that are willing to pay, I mean, that's, I'm not sure exactly how you figured out, parking spaces, 26 versus like what, 80 plus, apartments? I mean, did you roll the dice, go by the rule of 3 times like,
No.
20 or something like?
No, if you look
Or
at the,
if you're just
you
gonna
look at the
say,
site.
no,
you
but
look
if
at
you're
the
just
site-
gonna say, I went by what we were allowed, what we were, so in other words, you're telling me I went by the max of everything.
Yeah.
You know, where's the max being considered for us when we're already struggling? And I don't know if you know me, but I sure know you. And my mother, elderly, lives there, and I have been told, if not by you, definitely by your brothers, your 2 other brothers, oh, these parkings are illegal, they shouldn't be here, they're gonna get a ticket. And then I don't see no tickets being given out. And then before I know, I see people working in your project, walking into those same cars that you said, oh no, they're not supposed to be there. So, yes,
You mean
yes.
on Hope Street?
On Hope Street,
Yes.
on the 20th block of Hope Street. When my mother, if there's an emergency, needs parking, just to pick her up to rush her to the hospital, it cannot be done. Because you may say, when that gentleman over there was talking about no parking, and no blocking the streets, Hope Street has been blocked.
Yeah.
And the people who have gotten the tickets are the residents, not any of your peeps working for you.
Yeah.
And that's a bit unfair. And then for you to tell me, excuse me, no clapping now, which this is a group effort. When you or your brothers tell me, oh, they'll be gone, I feel you're demeaning me because you're acting like I'm stupid and I don't know that those are your workers. And then when they're going in and out and looking at me like, what's up? I'm here doing a job. You know, I should have been told that from the door. And I wasn't. I was told with all the certainty, oh, they're all going to get tickets. Don't worry about it. They shouldn't be here. And lo and behold, they did not move. They were all, remember Grace?
I remember.
They were all just coming in and out because they were working for you. So,
On our project south of,
on the 20th block of Hope Street.
what's that?
She's talking about the 1900 block of Hope.
Okay? So, all I'm saying, if the same scenario happens in just the area, I'm being told, oh, you gotta move the car because we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, blah, 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 blah. It's bad enough we don't even have parking. That whole corner of Hope Street, people could not and will not, if they do, it's very big, very few times that they use the parking there. Why? Because you guys just came in, took over without no type of negotiation. And it was like, this is our area, this is mine, I paid for it, good for you, but no consideration, none. So I'm curious, how you got those numbers without telling, I don't want to hear you took the max. Because you know what? Any inconsiderate person will take the max. I want to know other numbers. What you do, roll the dice? I don't know. Tell me how you arrived at 88 units, or do you divide it by the 3 brothers? 88 units and then 26 parking. That's absurd. That ratio is unheard of.
After Nilda is the slave right here. And yeah, and then she's been waiting.
And first of all, did you or did you not charge more for the apartments that do have parking?
Yes. He did say yes.
Meaning for the parking?
Yes.
Are we charging for the parking?
Yes.
He said
We're
yes.
charging for the parking.
And I think we're gonna-
Maybe she didn't hear what she
She had a question that.
She asked a question, he didn't answer.
How'd you get to that
How did
number?
you arrive at
The parking spaces are what can fit on that site unless we go underground with another, because there's a drive aisle and there are two 18-foot deep parking spaces. It goes the full length of the site, except for a 12-foot drive aisle in between. So unless we went underground, we couldn't fit.
So you can do more work and go underground and create more parking
We
space.
gotta kind of move on.
No, but we have to reiterate.
No, forget it. She's like already.
We have to reiterate
blessing
what
the
she's
meeting.
saying.
Let him speak.
What she's saying, we have to
I was.
reiterate because she's speaking to all of us. The disrespect for people, everybody knows. The government, fuck the people.
Well,
So
I-
I have been talking about you and your onion flats to everyone. How fantastic, modern, well-built materials, considering the rainwater, all that. And now this, I'm gonna have to call everybody and says, or F onion flats, let's boycott them everywhere. Because I've been promoting you guys for years. Years, the best architects, I live in onion flats, I say, architects. And now this crap, but she's talking about disrespect. This we all know. So we're calling on you to look at this woman.
Maria Quinones, I was told, allowed you to have 56 units, not the 88. So now you're saying she's blessed you for the 88?
She's very
Is her
coherent.
representative here?
Right there.
Well, can you stand up and clarify that, please?
Absolutely. In 2016, we did a remapping of Front Street, and with the Planning Commission, we remapped that area to IRMX, but it was under the conditions or the assumption that, this warehouse was going to get developed, and it would be at 56 units, not 88.
Well, that was for the developer's benefit, not the neighbors, okay?
Wait 1 second.
I understand it's hard, but you need to look at people here
I am.
and people there. Please, we need that. Okay, go
Can I
ahead.
Nobody's gonna address what you said.
There's something really important.
You said it all.
The plan, the schematic plan that we gave
They're gonna
your
build it
office
anyway. It's okay.
had to do with one portion of the site. It didn't include 2005. So the premise of the 56 was only on one portion of the site. But more importantly, what our request was and what the Planning Commission agreed to was the zoning for this site as a whole would be IRMX. Okay, so there was no number that was decided that was going to happen in order to change it to IRMX. It just isn't true.
It just reads.
Wait, this lady.
Go ahead.
Mama, you're gonna have to step out and I'll listen. Go ahead. I gotta let her talk, Mama. I work here, honey.
That was a high increase. Now,
I know, and I'm calling you disrespect. Go ahead,
get to Wall Street, Bluebird, all those trucks. You have to go through my corner. And I'm saying my corner because I live right there in that corner. Those trucks cannot get by if there's cars parked there. How do they get by? You know me, your brother knows me very well. How do they get by? Do I need to show you pictures?
Are you talking about the 1900 block of Hope?
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
How do those trucks get by?
Well, I'm not sure what trucks you're talking about, but our entire project.
No, not the project.
No.
How do the trucks get by. Those big loads of trucks. Those big loads of trucks with the sheetrock, with the other coordinates, all other those trucks are taken too. How do they get by when the other cars are still parked there and they can't get by? How do you think those trucks get by?
So when we have delivery of materials, it's the only place where we can deliver the materials to the project.
But how do they get by?
We have to shut the street down for that 20 minutes or 30
No.
minutes that it takes.
I know that. How do they get by? How are they able to go by Hope Street?
They broke
Yeah, you've got a tiny street.
Right.
You've got
So,
sidewalks under
if you work with the community, if you work with Hope Street, if you work with the people and ask them nicely, we're working here. Can you please move your car at a certain time? Do not park your car here. Why? Because they've been jumping on my payment.
That's right.
My payment is, I'm sorry, it's cracked. Completely cracked. How bad is it down at the bottom? I don't know, but you're gonna find out. I'm telling you and I promise you. Go ahead. She's next. Linda, she responded a while. Go ahead, let her frustration.
I know everybody works here. I know you all guys work, so I just came from work.
Sure.
And honestly, people, like, I've been living there since 1976. There's nothing that's gonna happen here that's gonna stop this process. It's done.
Yeah.
This is done. This is done, and the only reason why it hasn't happened before was because Quinones was on the other side for years, and she has stopped it, but this is done. So I'm just thinking, instead of trying to stop something that you won't be able to stop.
Wait a minute.
Why don't we discuss how can we handle the issue? Because really, we're not going to stop this progress.
Civil
There's no
disobedience, we
deliveries.
have to block it. We have to block the
You're not
street.
going to block anything, that's a lie. If you think you're going to sign anything to block this, it's a lie. I'm going to tell you right now.
But that's the
I'm
only-
going to listen, that's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. It's not going to happen, don't let nobody lie to you. If anybody tells you today that there's something you can sign, they're running for office. And it's a lie.
So what is
And
this
I'm telling you
for?
right now. There's nothing we can do, so let's just ask them what can we do to handle it. There's nothing we should be able to do.
She's right, she's right. We don't have no
Then
rights.
you can tell them what you have done, but that's
We
the
don't
business
have
they
no
need to
rights.
make it. And anybody boss,
They could do whatever
anybody
they
of us
want
was
in
the
our
owner of
town.
that building will charge extra for this parking. Let's be realistic. It's called business. It's called money.
Move.
Okay, and it's gonna
You don't
happen.
like it? Move.
It's gonna happen
That's what
whether we
you gotta
like it or not. It's done.
Move.
Unfortunately.
But I already said that, I was calling you
This
again.
lady right here, let her
Okay. Are you speaking?
No, I don't.
Are you speaking as a community resident?
No, I'm speaking as a person who lives
Well,
here. Is the
people don't
owner.
like it, go on
And that's what that is,
community
yes.
resident, anyway.
So forgive me my ignorance,
Okay,
yes.
I just want to,
That's my mom.
I just
That's okay.
wanted some clarity, that's all. When, at least are not me, but I'm sure many here, do not object first to having a neighborhood that is diverse.
Yes.
And we have experienced that when we have moved into neighborhoods. But these are people, based on the years that I've been living here, I'm from New York originally, that embrace diversity, that help each other. These are people that celebrate that. People that appreciate being engaged. People that have opinions and people that have been here for 30, 40 years.
Oh,
No,
God.
shush, nothing.
Emergency.
¿Qué pasó?
Mami, is everything okay?
So, we appreciate the fact that you were self-critical at the beginning, and you said that you did not seek input from the local residents. That's the reason why there's this reaction. And we don't oppose, at least I don't oppose mixed-income housing. We don't have a problem with the height. I don't have a problem, but we have a problem with the scope, the density, and the problems that it's going to create in the area. There's also the issue of a public benefit. We have to go beyond our self-interest, okay? And their issues are going to affect us directly. But if you're looking at applying for a property tax abatement for many years from our taxpayers' dollars, there has to be, you have to put something on the table to ensure that some issues are addressed and that something is given in return. Now, the ADA unit that you are proposing
I don't believe, based on what I've heard, that it was the original plan that it was proposed to the councilwoman. So that says to me that she was basing her endorsement, quote unquote, on the original proposal, 56. No, I'm making that assumption based on what you said. So we have a petition, and there's some specific demands in that petition that many have agreed to sign that is going to be forwarded to the councilwoman. And we had a conversation today with somebody from her staff, with Rafael. And those specific demands are going to be made, including you considering setting aside, assuming that you go through the whole process and you build, because I do believe it's not his fault. He has to make his money. He's a businessman. It's the city, the way the regulations and the laws are enacted. But that is another issue that we shouldn't be discussing here. But the point is that there are many, many services that are needed in this community that people have to walk or drive. I appreciate the fact that you're going to be providing all the units for artists or for artisans, but unless those artisans sell their goods, they go elsewhere to a flea market, it's not really providing a service. So you need to consider setting aside some units, commercial units, to supply some services that we need in the community.
Yes.
For example, a cleaners, a tailor, those type of businesses that we don't have at all here, and also tying that to some opportunities for local folks for jobs. So those are issues that if you would have come to the community, to the residents, we would have been able to.
Can you mention some of that we talked about this morning? Like, he could have brought businesses like.
She just said that. She just said that. You were busy dealing with the emergency.
Professional services, an attorney, an accountant, a healthy food stand, food market, small place for healthy food. This is a food desert. So probably this should serve as a case in point. We don't want to make you the poster child, but for in the future, when you go into communities, that you really need to sit down and engage them, and it's easier that way, and it saves people time and effort.
And
Because that way you present something that everybody's going to be able to endorse.
And don't make people feel like they don't belong, because we were here before.
You're not going to make everybody happy, and we understand you're a business person. Okay, you have to make a profit. But this is, to me, a tax abatement is a public subsidy, just like Section 8.
Isn't this a historical?
Yes.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, guys. I don't want to keep holding people up. We're gonna vote, okay?
For what?
What we voting for? What? Yes, it is.
Is it gonna make a difference? Is it gonna make a difference if we say yes or no?
It is gonna make a
It'll
difference.
just be delayed.
It is gonna make a difference.
Well, of course. Didn't you already have that with everybody here?
Excuse me, can I speak?
Tim, is it going to make a difference?
We can make a difference because we can show up to their hearing.
Yes.
Okay?
But we have a petition.
And have the zoning board of adjustment listen to us. And we have a petition. This is not a done deal. We can oppose it, and we can move forward and make it work for us.
So this matters.
I have a question.
It's not useless being here, like she's saying.
We still gotta vote. We still gotta vote.
Pat, point of information, please. I would appreciate on behalf of a lot of the people that are here that we spoke to from Hope, Norris, from the entire neighborhood, we drafted this petition. It has specific points. This is why it's going to be submitted to the councilwoman. It was discussed with Rafael today. Can someone volunteer to read? It's just a page and a half, the demands, because this is what we're going to be adopting, hopefully, and submitting. As an official, not Norris Square, the residents.
The issue is this. I think that people need to vote a yes or a no.
Yes.
And with all due respect to
Favor
those,
or oppose?
yes, and to those who don't believe we can make a difference, right?
Of course we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
This is a
We must.
democracy.
Hang on.
We
two
must.
And if we don't speak up,
Yeah.
and we don't vote,
Yeah.
we have only ourselves.
All right,
We
all right,
must make a difference.
When's that hearing? When's that hearing?
The hearing is I'm gonna be notified when they're notified at the same time.
Good.
Okay?
Can we clarify really quickly? It's not the ZBA, it's the civic design review.
Oh,
So it's a
that's
different
right.
place,
But
it's
it's
a
still in the
different
same
venue.
building.
You still get a vote.
And you still could go, listen, we can vote today and we can vote over there.
Yes.
Okay?
We could vote.
We
Yes or no?
are
But that doesn't
human
preclude
people.
us from meeting.
We work
Right.
hard to have what we
Right.
have and we could speak up today. Today is the day to speak up.
Hang
Can
on.
I get the ballots?
Wait, one quick final question to
People
you.
don't know what
Previously, you said you did not work with the community. Would you consider that a mistake before you designed and laid all these plans down? Would you consider that a mistake?
I'm not sure if I would consider it a mistake.
Ooh. Hang on.
Listen,
Now,
Listen, can I just say?
Sure.
It's very simple, the way we work. If we're trying to do something that's outside the realm of what's allowed in a neighborhood, that's what the whole variance process is about. That's where the community comes together. That's how development happens. If we work within the confines of what's allowed within the zoning.
You're just talking about the bare
then-
minimum, though.
What's
He's
that?
asking whether you could have done something more, not whether you.
Or will you commit yourself to do something more?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Isn't that what I said? I was calling on him.
So, hang on. So now that you know how the community feels, this hasn't been built yet. Will you work with us to maybe alter, not everything?
If I alter the project, then I stop the project at this point.
Great.
Good.
Perfect.
No. You're just going to be delaying it. It's already a done deal. You're just delaying it, that's all.
So, one of the things that I talked about with Pat, and I hope you're still open to this, but Pat said, would you be interested in finding a way to rent some of these units to people within the community because there are rent subsidies that I know nothing about. She said she knows a lot about. I said I'll rent them to everybody in the community.
No, 56 and down. 80, no. No.
Right, so
Absolutely not.
I don't determine the relationship between parking and units. I work within what the city tells me I'm allowed to.
And we work within reason. We happen to reason. We're not going into greed.
Okay, let's let Anna speak.
No, reason. This lady talks, this lady, nobody cares. You might as well be, you know.
I wanted to tell you something. Our neighborhood, right?
Anna didn't speak and she's in
are
my
very tight.
Okay,
And it's very hard to know that you came to our neighborhood in
2004.
2004
Yeah, pretty
and
tight.
didn't realize how tight our neighborhood is. You understand? You didn't realize it. You didn't realize that if you come and talk to us, ask us, and even just have a meeting outside.
No, he mentioned 2004 just to say that he's been here long enough and he can do what the law says, allows him. Because you said it, he says 2004. What was that about?
Are very good people.
What was that? What did that
But we
mean?
don't like to be like tricked
Bullied.
anymore. Like tricked.
So two things, guys, because I know people are tired, want to leave, eso. Número uno, the fact that it's the law does not make it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery was the law.
Yeah. But we don't want to be right or wrong. We want to reason. Reason. I don't want to be right.
So my suggestion is this.
Carmen, you're leaving?
Since we do not agree with the proposal, we
Carmen.
vote no.
Correct.
What does that do? Make him and the city come to the table. In the meantime, there's also a petition that we can go around for people to
You want us to read it after they take the vote.
But I'd like to say something. The lady said that he is not his fault and that the city's fault. But we make the city.
Sure.
It is his fault. It is him. He's not going into the community. It is him.
I actually have, so I think.
It's his fault. It's not the city. We make the city.
So the problem is something that we all fall into. We follow
Yeah. We make the city. We make the government.
If I have connection, I can get that to my husband. 73.
Lisa.
Mention this.
I
should mention your
my
age, yeah.
I'm 73 years old.
Who did we?
You can be 80 and
Who wants on that to get chair? I just gotta walk by.
You got